Can you scoot over a little bit? I want us to be like this way. I don't want to be like ahead of you. So scoot over a little bit.
This way?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Feel a little bit of a dip. Okay, scoot back over a little bit. Well, actually, no. Okay, see what I mean? I put your arm like this. No, I think it's more comfortable with me. Is this okay for you?
Fine.
Okay. Anyway, back to what I was saying. But seriously, so we've just heard the president speak, and I just wanted to come on here with my husband, and you'll understand why. So we've just heard the president speak about the coronavirus, and I really wanted to address all the people in my all of my subbies, and anyone who does see this. For anyone that has issues with their health, I really just hope that you'll watch this video. So I don't know about you, but at the beginning I really wasn't all that concerned. I mean, we've heard about the bird flu, we've heard about the H1N1, we've heard about the Ebola, that whole thing, and we're seeing that it's becoming more and more serious, and I'm realizing that there are some precautions that I need to take, and I'm hoping for those of you who are subbies of mine, or anyone that does watch this that has compromised immune systems as far as with their health, that you pay attention to this as well. I think the thing that we have to keep in mind is that a lot of times they do talk about people who are older who may be affected by this, but they also talk about people with compromised immune systems. And I have fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue syndrome, and I know that a lot of people out there, they have their own issues, and I just want to put it out there that I think it's time to really now begin to plan for self-quarantining yourself, to be able to have things in place, like making sure that you even consider stocking up on things that you need. Honestly, at this point, I might even look into my medications and making sure that I have enough. At this point, like for me, I won't be attending any of my church services. I normally don't get a chance to go, but in this case, I'm going to alert my church and let them know that they need to do the same for the people in church. And also, I most likely, for myself, as a precaution, is I probably won't be attending any medical appointments unless they're absolutely necessary. I just don't want to expose myself. We have a case already in Virginia Beach. We have a couple in Virginia Beach that's been infected. And so for me, we live in Virginia Beach. That's become a lot, it's coming a lot closer to home. And so I want to take the precautions, and I want to encourage you guys to do the same. To stay indoors. If you have a caregiver, perhaps that caregiver who's healthy could be able to do those things for you for right now, starting right now. So just to keep yourself safe, and hopefully this thing will go away. And I just want you guys to protect yourselves. I just want you guys to make sure that you take the measures needed. So like extra supplies, food, these things, this is something to think about now. Let's not, I think it's also important to not have too many people coming over, or more than anything, going out, being around lots of people in this situation. So if you were planning on even going to church services and this kind of thing, I think that right now it might be the best to stay home, to protect your health, and we'll see hopefully how the course of this runs. But I think a lot of times people are looking at this as just the flu. And I think that for someone who's young and who's healthy, or not even young, but someone who's healthy, it may just be the flu for them. But for people like us, and that's all ages, we have all ages who struggle with compromised immune systems and issues with their health. And so to me, it's all ages, that those of us who have issues with our with chronic illnesses, that's all ages, and we need to all be prepared and take measures and speak with our caregivers and get the help that we need so that we can protect ourselves. Now, the reason why I have my husband here is because he was in the Coast Guard. He's 26 years in the military, and many of those years were in the Coast Guard, and so he is very familiar with dealing with kind of large-scale situations, and so he is also my caregiver. And so at first I was a little skeptical, but now I understand why. He's very on top of those things. People who are involved in these kinds of fields are going to be a little bit more focused and pay attention to these kinds of things, and so he's been right. And so I just wanted him to be able to maybe share some things, some ideas or thoughts that you have, even sharing how the progression of, why you came to where we're right now having to take measures.
First of all, I want to start off as I'm not a prepper. No means. Right. I'm not one of these survivalists.
End of world kind of people.
In the world, but I'm not that. I was in the Coast Guard, and we just, me and a friend, even this guy wasn't even in the military about a month ago. We were sitting there at the coffee shop, and he's 20-something years old, and we both looked at each other, and when we heard about the Wuhan, we didn't even know what that was, the city, and we said 11 million people were on quarantine or lockdown. We said, this must be serious. And so the president spoke tonight, and I'm not a big fan. This is not political, but at least he was very serious, and he it's kind of did a good speech about how serious this is.
Yeah.
He's starting to get on board. And all I can tell you is you're going to have a lot of friends around you, and I do too, that are going to say, this is just the flu, don't worry about it. More people have died by the flu. What you should always keep in mind is look at people's actions. There's several states that are declaring a state emergency.
Right.
March Madness shows are being canceled.
Right.
Cruises are being canceled. And then what the president said tonight. So this is serious. What I can say for the caregivers is I'm curtailing. I work on a golf course, so that's fine. There's not many people at all. I can continue to do that. But my morning routine of getting up and being the life of the party at the coffee shop where everyone's around me and we're joking, I'm cutting that out, mostly because I don't fear my health, but I could bring something home, and then that could really affect my wife. So for the caregivers out there, you kind of got to look at your schedule.
Right. And even the people that live with them, even if they're not caregivers.
Exactly. Do they come home? Where are they at?
Right.
And I'm not saying bunker down. I'm just saying what the government's saying is kind of social distancing. And then also what I just say is you don't have to be a prepper. Just have a full pantry.
Yeah.
Because what's going to happen is we're a herd society. And right now you can go down and get any cans of beans you want, and there's no one standing in a line. But you watch after about 2 months, and if this gets worse, and then the president has to speak like this, we're a herd, and everyone will be going, and you'll be standing in line.
Start preparing now.
You'll be standing in line for a long time. So make sure you just when you
start
go
now.
Regular grocery shopping, pick up an extra can
Right.
of this, an extra can of that, and
Right.
some rice.
Yeah.
So I'm not talking about being a prepper and having guns and knives and all that stuff, but
or even just extra meds. Like I have sometimes I need to take ibuprofen, and you just want to make sure that you have everything you need, but just start now, and like you said, build up for that. And who knows, maybe this whole thing won't be what it is, and everybody will be fine.
Food.
And it'll be extra food, but I think for us we have to be extra prepared.
Yeah, and then just for me, just closing out, and then I'll let my wonderful wife finish, is just take precautions, wash your hands, right? Make sure that you give yourself some rest, stay home, take some naps like we do, and get to spend some quality time together. This will pass.
I'm also wondering too if for those who are around a lot of people, and even just like laundry, like just washing our hands, but then also washing our clothes in hot water.
Sure.
I think that those things might be something to consider. Because you just want to take all the precautions. Like that's something I'm thinking about. Like, if one of us are out, and that gives him an excuse to do more laundry.
More laundry.
He never does.
But really, this will pass. We'll get through it. It's going to be scary for a while.
Right.
But you got all these great doctors that spent
Right.
hundreds of thousands of dollars to
Right.
get their doctor's degree, and they're just telling you the basics. The best thing is
Right.
wash your hands,
Right.
keep the kitchen clean,
Right.
don't touch your face, stuff like that.
And then also just being around lots of crowds. I mean, for those of us, we're not around huge crowds, right? But that's just something to keep in mind, though, that just for the future, like I said, maybe church or hospitals. I mean, if you have a medically necessary appointment, please go. Please go.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's not like medically necessary, I mean, my opinion is that I'm going to be careful about that. Like for instance, I need to do a sleep study. Well, right now I'm going to wait until later before doing something like that. It's not medically necessary. I'm not going to die. You know what I mean? And that's kind of like and I was touching my face too. But that's kind of like what I'm talking about. So
and I'm not a financial advisor and I'm not a medical doctor. So, but they're saying on TV, and just in case you didn't get a chance to watch it. If you come down with the sniffles or a flu or anything, don't go to the emergency room. Call first.
Right.
And get advice, because if you do have something, you don't want to walk into an emergency room and someone's there just with a burn on their hands, and next thing you know, you get the virus. So if you feel sick and all that, first thing you need to do is to call your doctor and then get advice on what you have to do. Because what's going to happen in the future, very shortly, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, is you will see different types of hospitals set up, hospitals outside of hospitals. There'll be this whole thing, and they just don't want someone that might be sick walking into an emergency room.
Right.
So now I'm not saying don't go to the doctor if you really are sick and are having a heart attack or something.
Obviously,
go.
when
But
it's
but if it's with the flu,
kind of a thing.
call your doctor and get advice.
Also, the reason why I think for us, those of us who do have chronic illness issues, the concern that I have is for us is that if some of us who do get sick, we're going to need that much more help, and they may not have the availability. So, like for instance, like probably if we're in a situation where we need ventilation, it seems to be that there isn't that enough supply that's going to meet the demand, and that's why I'm saying to really just be really careful and stay home as much as you can, and just be careful because, I mean, I don't want to freak anyone out, but one of the things that they said was that, they're going to look at, triage is going to be looking at probably us, because we're older, as not as important as someone who's younger and has their whole lives ahead of them. So there is a chance that, because a lot of times, at least for those of us who are a lot older who have chronic illness issues, I'm 52, we just have to be aware of that. And so I just want, I want to have a warning. I want it to be kind of a carefully worded warning, but I want this to go out to as many people as possible to take the precautions necessary. This is not a time where we throw caution to the wind.
We will most definitely, in the future, want this video, people to watch it and laugh at it. Because we're wrong.
Right.
You see what I'm
saying? That's what we
want it 2 months from now going, they thought it was Ebola. I've been wrong all the time.
Right.
My wife never believes me.
Right.
And finally I got it right. Well, so hopefully this is just, a big, oh wow, that was nothing. And it's but you always err on the side.
Please err on the side of caution.
Exactly.
Is, I think, what's important.
That sounds like a good,
that's
a good little, what's it called? Public announcement.
Our little PSA.
Yeah, PSA.
Yeah.